It's one small step for man.
It's just another Bronx tale.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to A Slice of Doom, episode number 5. It is Scagz here from the Two Doom Men podcast, and I'm joined, as always, by 1/3 of the Doughboys, the king of the trash realm, as they call him over there, Jimbo the Kid. What's going on, my brother?
What's going on, man?
I was just thinking about that episode you guys did where you were dressed up as the medieval characters and whatnot. I was having a little chuckle about that.
Yeah, I actually got to blow that picture up because it's just such a good. This is just me, you know. I make my mom proud.
I feel you. So we are here today, and we are going to kind of talk a little bit of a culture war issue. I know we said we're going to talk about like societal things, and I guess this doesn't really get more societal or cultural in a way than anything. But I wanted to talk about the "Don't Say Gay" bill in Florida. Might have been something a lot of you have heard of, maybe not. We were just talking about this before about how like the coverage of Ukraine and the war there has completely dominated every headline. But it's something that is interesting, and it is something that's important and big, and it's something that is being discussed, definitely, at least in circles I follow on social media and the political world. So what I'm going to do is, before I give my opinion, and Jamie, you're going to give your opinion as well, I'm going to read the actual bill, or at least a portion of it, from the actual Florida Senate. And there's a lot of pushback, I guess you could say, on the left against this bill. As you know, Florida is, I guess, conservative, Republican, right? Ron DeSantis is the governor there. So, of course, this has become a political battle, a culture war battle.
Mhm.
And there's a lot of activists and LGBTQ activists that are like pushing back against this, and it's become this big mess as everything becomes nowadays. So it's worth noting that the bill is called the "Don't Say Gay" bill. It's not actually called the "Don't Say Gay" bill. It is called the Parental Rights in Education bill. So "Don't Say Gay," it appears nowhere in the bill whatsoever. So let's just put that out there. I'm going to go to section 1 of the bill and read probably four of the most key parts. And it says, in accordance with the rights of parents enumerated in section whatever, adopt procedures for notifying a student's parent if there is a change in the student's services or monitoring related to the student's mental, emotional, or physical health or well-being, and the school's ability to provide a safe and supportive learning environment for the student. The procedures must reinforce the fundamental right of parents to make decisions regarding the upbringing and control of their children by requiring school district personnel to encourage a student to discuss issues relating to his or her well-being with his or her parent, or to seek permission to discuss or facilitate discussion of the issue with the parent. The procedures must comply with the section blah, 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 and may not prohibit a parent from accessing any of his or her minor child's education records created, maintained, or used by the school district. This paragraph does not limit or alter any obligation of the school district personnel to report suspected abuse, abandonment, or neglect, as those terms are defined in section whatever. A school district may not adopt procedures or student support forms that require school district personnel to withhold from a parent information about his or her student's mental, emotional, or physical health or well-being, or change in related services or monitoring, or that encourage or have the effect of encouraging a student to withhold from a parent such information, unless a reasonably prudent person would believe that such disclosure would result in abuse, abandonment, or neglect, as those terms are defined in section whatever. School district personnel may not discourage or prohibit parental notification of and involvement in critical decisions affecting a student's mental, emotional, or physical health or well-being. And this is the big part here that's gotten the most criticism or controversy. This is part 3. A school district may not encourage classroom discussion about sexual orientation or gender identity in primary grade levels or in a manner that is not age appropriate or developmentally appropriate for students. A parent of a student may bring an action against the school district to obtain a declaratory judgment that a school district procedure or practice violates this paragraph and seek injunctive relief. A court may award damages and shall award reasonable attorney fees and court costs to a parent who receives declaratory or injunctive relief. Let's see. Student support services, training developed or providing by a school district to school district personnel must adhere to student service guidelines, standards, and frameworks established by the Department of Education. So this is going to take effect on July 2022. I believe it was ratified in like the Florida Congress or whatever, and it's going to go to Governor Ron DeSantis's desk. He is 100% going to sign it into law, so it's going to happen. I want to be fair, right? And I want to give the criticism or the other side's point of view before me and you comment and we give our own points of view. So I'm getting this from The Independent, which is a publication in Great Britain, which I go to a lot because you can't find anything that's not biased in America in terms of politics. So I like to go to outside sources. There's been, this article in The Independent says there's been thousands of high school students staging walkouts, and that the bill came up for debate in the Senate on March 7th, where Chevron Jones, the first openly gay or LGBTQ member of Florida's Republican-dominated state, made an emotional appeal for proponents of the bill to shoot it down because it could forcibly out LGBTQ plus students and have a chilling effect on the community, people, and issues in Florida schools. He says, seeing these kids, I don't think I'll understand how much courage it takes to show up every day, Mr. Jones said, reflecting on his father's disappointment and the insults hurled at him after he publicly came out. Republican officials defending the bill insist its intention is to simply keep parents in the know and involved on what's going on with their children's education, and that critics are absolutely misinformed on what exactly the bill does. But critics argue the supporters of the legislation have failed to provide comfort to LGBTQ students and families voicing concerns that proponents of the measure believed are unfounded or overstated. The bill's critics also argue that right-wing proponents have weaponized the bill's language, reviving an anti-LGBTQ attack to build public support for the legislation. They tie in, of course, then it gets tied into Trump and how it's going to probably be ratified by Ron DeSantis. And that's really, I guess you could say, about it. So I've watched some other, I've a lot of the criticism I've seen, I'll just give you a personal perspective on Twitter and whatnot. Even some people that I know that are like in the LGBTQ community, I've seen them talking about it on social media, is that this is a don't say gay bill, that they're trying to attack gay people, or trying to suppress, or kind of like influence the way children develop and put them down if they are gay. I've seen rallies. There's the kids walking out of school over it. I don't know, man. What's your take on everything before I give my take? Because I was talking for a while, so go ahead.
It's all good. It's definitely weird. There's no. It's like you understand why the bill's in place. Is they're trying to give power to the parents to hold the schools accountable for what their kids are learning, which in part is right. And I do agree with that. I do agree that school is for kids to go to school and learn. And they should learn history, math, all the stuff, and not be learning about sexual orientations or sexual identity. But then another side of me could understand the LGBTQ community, because it's, what about those students who are not comfortable coming out at home and they could find comfort at school, which is another point. So I can understand that. Which is tough because now Florida needs to, or just the state itself needs to figure out a way to help those students and those kids and protect them and give them help to go to an alternative area where they're embraced, um, with other people who went through the same things or going through the same things. But as in whole, I consider this like a modern day separation of church and state. It's exactly what it is. It's just removing um things that kids shouldn't be learning about, or they shouldn't have to know yet until they're 18, they're in college, and you get to see you get to see life differently and make up your own decisions, you know? It's a really weird one, right? I find it really like odd. It's because it's like you can see all sides of it.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah, I think you did a great job at explaining something that makes a lot of sense, and I think you just made an interesting point about how it's almost like a bill aimed at like separation of church and state. Um, I won't mince many words here, but like wokeism has become essentially a religion to some, not to everybody. I'm not saying every LGBTQ person is like woke. They're not. I'm friends with many of them. They're cool, awesome fucking people. I love them. But it has become a religion to some. And I like the way you put that because I feel like, at least in my personal opinion, that's what this bill is aimed at doing. It's aimed at separating church and state, the church of wokeism, I guess you could say. The thing is, over the past year or two, if you follow libs of TikTok, especially, right,
Mhm.
there has been video after video after video of teachers that are activists essentially, right?
Yeah.
And they've openly said how they're going to talk to little children about sexual situations, gender identity, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All right. When I went to school, I mean, I can't believe that this even has to be said, right? But when I went to school, if a teacher spoke to me about sexualization or my gender or what I was into, that was a big fucking no-no,
Yeah.
right? You don't talk to kids about sex or about what their preferences are or anything like that. We're talking about babies here, literally, little tiny babies from pre-K to third grade is where the majority of this bill is focused. When you're in pre-K to third grade, you could barely fucking speak yet. You don't even know how to write. You don't know how to read 100%. And you can't even really have a critical thought. Yet you want to make it so that, okay, some of the teachers want to make, and this is not all teachers. Some teachers are great. They're awesome. They're underpaid. They don't get enough recognition for what they do. So I'm not trying to say all teachers are bad, or give a bad rap to everybody because of some of the kooks out there. But that's not stuff that should be spoken about with little tiny babies who can't understand or fully grasp concepts yet. The bill doesn't say that the child can't, of their own volition, talk about things. The bill is saying that the teachers can't discuss things with the students of their own volition, right? And another one of the pushbacks I've seen from, the woke people, right, is that, oh, you're infringing on the teachers' free speech rights. You don't have a right to free speech in the setting of a teacher teaching a student. You don't own the student. You're at work, right? So just like you could get fired like Colin Kaepernick did for expressing his freedom of speech and losing his job, right? You have no right to freedom of speech within the boundaries of your job. I mean, like, you do, you can. No one's going to throw you in jail, but you're going to lose your job if you break the rules. And we're literally talking about little tiny children here. I think that shit should never be fucking spoken about with children until they are of an age where they can grasp the concept. And my personal opinion is that goes both ways. You shouldn't be talking to them about if they're gay, if they're gender neutral, if they're trans, or if they're just completely straight or hetero. It's none of your business as a teacher, as an educator, to talk to a 3-year-old or a 4-year-old or a 5-year-old child about their sexuality. And I'm not a big proponent of like the government getting involved and in everybody's life and dictating things. right? I consider myself a libertarian and I hate the government, right? But if there is one thing the government it should be involved in, it's protecting your rights and protecting children, right? So I have personally no problem with this bill. The "don't say gay" thing is completely made up. That's not; those words do not appear anywhere in the bill whatsoever. The bill even, it makes like clear that if a child feels like, or if a child is being abused, or say a child, the bill actually makes it pretty clear. If a kid comes out and tells his parents that he's gay, and the parents are abusive towards that kid, then the teacher has the right to say something to child services or whatever. That I also 100% agree with, right?
Mhm.
I just, it's an insane part in society with the culture war where, like, we can't look at the actual, but it wasn't long, like, whatever, read that for 2 minutes, like
Yeah.
any person could read that for 2 minutes, and then you should be able to, like, apply logic and critical thought and take into account both sides of the argument.
And that's one of the things that that you said is um, they're saying that they're putting gay involved in that bill, which that net word does not come up whatsoever, and it doesn't attack LGBT. It's just saying it's just a. I think they're just afraid of the wording because it's so vague that it could just attack them. But it's not. If you look at it in the sense of a parent, um you don't want your kid to learn things outside of what is important, which is history, bio. Should education be taught in school, in high school? Yes, in a later, hey, do it senior year, so when they transfer to and some of these kids, I mean, they're having sex at a young age as well, so
Right.
they should, but like they said in the bill, it should be the parents' job at home to teach their kids certain things. Now, is that the case sometimes? No. I mean, there are bad parents. They just don't know how
Yeah.
to teach their kids. They neglect their kids. And like I said, with one of my concerns is that what about a person who feels like they're gay, trans, or whatever, and they want to come out to their parents, but they know they get disowned? That's also sad, and they need
Yeah,
to
that's
find a place.
horrible. Yeah.
So, do I think that maybe the LGBTQ community is maybe fear mongering a little bit with their people? I believe that they are just using the wording as saying it's vague and that they can potentially they'll be attacking us and restricting us. But it's to a point where it's like, hey, when young kids should not be learning this. They should not be knowing. You're right. Educators, it's not their responsibility to be teaching or talking about this. Because at the end of the day, I feel like that's weird.
It
Talking
is
to
weird.
young
Yeah.
kids
With
about
babies.
sexuality. That's
Right.
that to me is that's odd. And I remember the Dave Chappelle stand-up that came out on Netflix when, remember, Netflix employees, they were protesting his show. There were people outside the show, and it was a couple, it was a married couple, and they were like, yeah, we're in solidarity with the LGBTQ community because our 7-year-old son is trans. And I'm like, but that's way too young, in my opinion. Maybe some kids, they do know, but to decide that for them, that's odd. So it's like you also have those type of parents as well. So it's a kind of
Yeah.
a weird
I don't. Yeah,
situation.
I know what you're saying. I don't have a problem with parents and their, and okay, morally, right? I feel like parents, you have the right to discuss with your children whatever you want within like a rational boundary, right? Like pedophilia and all that crazy shit, obviously, is off the table, of course.
100%
Um,
disease, sickness.
and the thing is, with this bill, I've heard Governor DeSantis say, like, this is if say, like, like, this is, again, this bill is intended to be essentially like anti-grooming, and I've heard a lot of people say this, right? And if you're not familiar with grooming, it's like people who are trying to talk to children about sexuality to raise them up in an attempt to basically abuse them when they get older. This is a problem, right? And you can, because you're very progressive and you're woke, maybe you choose to ignore that as a problem. The way I look at it, right, is that is fucking sick, and people will use the LGBTQ community almost as a shield in order to kind of like sneak their way into doing stuff like that. That is not an indictment on the LGBTQ community. They're not for that shit. They're not for fucking pedophilia or sexual abuse of children. Quite the opposite, actually. They're some of the most like outspoken advocates against that sort of shit.
Actually,
and people,
protective, very
yes, right.
protective.
So the thing is, right, there's room to work together here and condemn people that are looking to co-opt that community for disgusting, nefarious reasons, and at the same time protect a parent's right to know what the fuck is going on and what their child is being taught in school. I think there's been a big ideological almost divide, especially the past couple of years, is the culture war with politics or whatever, in terms of like people don't realize that the state does not own your child. You own your child, you own yourself, right? And they think, that the state can literally just do whatever it wants to your children because they have, the best intentions in mind or whatever. No, each person owns themselves. So I think that also has factors into this a little bit. You have like a microcosm of a little bit of a civil war in the sense of a state making laws pushing back against the overarching, kind of a narrative or goals of the federal government, which is pushing, in the direction of we own your kids, we know what's best. Parents have no rights. Parents are actually domestic terrorists. They need to be thrown in jail. So I just think it's really an interesting scenario. But personally, I have no problem with the bill whatsoever. I think it's a good thing.
Yeah,
I just think people need to actually spend some time and look into it, which is what we attempted to do here.
I agree with you 100%. And I don't make no mistake. I do agree with the bill 100%. I think it's about time that parents should be responsible with what is happening in school with their kids, and that you have to hold the parents accountable. That's their job. You're creating a product of society. All right, and that is your job as a parent, is to make sure you can shape it, help them form, and then formulate their own opinions.
Right. Yeah.
And that's how you watch them grow. And then, everybody's different, and we all need to accept that. But when you're young and specific ages, young kids, young babies, essentially, you got to keep on the curriculum. You got to teach them the basics, right? Like that's not the basics. That's just,
yeah. I'm shocked that this has to be a discussion or something that even needs to be put into law. That we have to say, there's, like I said before, there's a reason why this is happening, and it has to do with all the videos of the teachers and the ones that are activists and want to talk to kids about this. I can't believe that this has to be done, but it has to be done. Like I said, if there's any like purpose for the government to serve, is to defend your individual liberties and your individual rights. That includes the rights of you as a parent over your child, and not some fucking state indoctrinator to impose their will on your child or anything like that. So it really is crazy, bro. Yeah, go for it.
So I've been read as much as possible on this. Is it true that there are other states with this actual bill that has been ratified already, right? Or something similar like it, right? There's other states that have something similar to what they're trying to do. So my question is like, is it because it's Florida and they're doing it now currently that they have to, this has now become such a massive thing, because I believe Texas has something similar like this. Which basically all the red states have. I think it was like this, Tennessee, something like that, and a couple other states that have a similar bill to this.
Yeah, I'm sure other states definitely do have something similar, although every state's different. I'm sure not the language is 100% exactly the same. I haven't looked into the other states. I don't know what their rules are. I like to take each case on its own. You're 100% right. It definitely does have something to do with Florida. It definitely has something to do with Ron DeSantis and his popularity of being like a pretty level-headed dude that seems to, in my opinion, say things that make sense most of the time, not all the time, but most of the time. And there's been a lot of smears and bullshit said
so
about
maybe
him.
It's just a smear campaign for him if he was thinking about running for president of the United States, or I think he has one more term as the governor of Florida. Maybe it's a start for them to actually smear his image and be like, hey, are you guys really going to vote for a guy who stands behind this type of a bill? Right? Have you thought about it? Maybe it's an early stage attack on, hey, listen, let's have uproar and outrage about this. And when the time comes, this will be coming back. If he does run, it will be coming back up.
Right. Of
100%.
course. Yeah. That's 100%, 100% part of it. I could already see I could already see like his political opponent's campaign message of Ron DeSantis supported the "Don't Say Gay" bill. He doesn't want, he wants to suppress gay people and their, their sexuality and this and that, whatever. Yeah, of
Yeah.
course, 100%. That
Yeah.
has
And
something to do with it.
I read an interesting article this morning that came out. So the Disney CEO spoke out about this bill. Actually, a lot of people look towards Disney because Disney obviously holds a lot of political power, a little
In
political
Florida, yeah.
political influence in Florida, because they own so much real estate, and they just I I want to say 90% of their income comes straight from Disney down there. So it says the Walt Disney Company has now come out against Florida's parental rights education bill, and this is from the NPR.org article. The so-called "Don't Say Gay" bill was passed by Florida's House and Senate and is headed to Governor Ron DeSantis' desk. The bill will limit. We just explained all that. In recent days, Disney employees shared their outrage on social media when the company did not denounce the proposed legislation. On Wednesday at Disney's annual meeting with shareholders, Disney CEO Bob Chapek acknowledged their anger, saying that he knows many are upset that we didn't speak out against this bill. Chapek explained that Disney leaders were opposed to the bill from the outset, but we chose not to take a public position on it because we thought we would be more effective working behind the scenes, engaging directly with lawmakers on both sides of the aisle. And
Yeah.
I brought this up because I knew that this might send you in a whirlwind, because it's like, are we really going to trust this company?
Right. I mean, isn't it just bizarre how like the first thing we have to do is like be like, "Hey, corporation, what do you think? What
Exactly.
shouldn't you tell us what to do? And shouldn't you influence the government?" Isn't it bizarre? Because in this situation, it's the left, I guess, right? Again, I hate labels, but it's the left who's going to the big corporation and saying, "Hey, use your big corporate influence to get something we want." Isn't the left supposed to be against corporations, right? They're not. They're not against anything. They have no value or moral core. They're just only out for power. And that's another aspect of this whole thing, right? That's all it's about. They want to influence things, and so they could gain more state power, etc. They want power over your children to indoctrinate them into their point of view. And that's really what it's about. I don't think they actually, the government from the government point of view, from the opposite side of this, from the not conservative point of view, they want control over your children, right? They want your children to go to school and learn their agenda and their this and their that. And those things are not actually aimed at equality or anything, right? Quite the opposite, actually. The more you look into this shit, it's very divisive, very racist.
Yep.
That the left is pushing here. So yeah, dude.
Yeah,
It really is. It's bizarre on so many levels. Up is down, down.
I read this and I was like, what? Why Disney? Like, who cares what Disney thinks? And they own a lot of real estate and the income for the state, and obviously they hold a lot of political power. But I'm like, but Disney though, human rights, Disney, the people, the same Disney that bows down to China,
Right.
that Disney,
Yeah.
you're the bat signal. That company is gonna come and save you for your human rights while they bow down to the government that does not give two fucks about other people's human rights because that's their master. Okay.
Hey, Mickey Mouse is a powerful guy, bro. You've seen the South Park episode where he controls everything.
He is a powerful guy.
He is. There he is. Right
There he
bro.
is. He's right.
He's in the background pulling the strings at the Last
you.
Slice podcast. Yeah, man. Obviously, Disney doesn't really give a shit about any of that stuff either. They're just going to go wherever the wind blows.
Yep.
And it's and neither do the people who are trying to pressure Disney, right? Because if they did, they would equally be as disgusted as Disney's involvement with those other things you were just mentioning. You could apply that to anything, dude. You could apply that to the war in Ukraine. We blow up plenty of people elsewhere and do just a similar disgusting shit.
Yeah,
Vladimir
100%.
Putin. But it's selective outrage.
Mhm.
It's all bullshit. It's all just a means to an end, and the end is to gain power, and that's all it is. And if you don't look into it, you don't educate yourself, you fall right into the trap of thinking something like this is "Don't say gay," or et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I could replace this exact issue or this exact scenario with 1,000 other things we've talked about or covered over the years.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, man.
All right.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Let's wrap it up.
Yes, sir.
That was a Slice of Doom with Jimbo the Kids. Shout out the Last Slice podcast. Where can everybody find it?
You can find us on the Doughboys channel. You could just type in the Last Slice podcast in the search bar, and you can find our content there. And then you can head over to watch part 2 of this episode of Slice of Doom.
Which, what are we going to be talking about? We're going to be having a little bit more fun.
Can I do a selling part right here? Can I do it?
Go for it. Yeah.
All right. Are you tired of Ukraine and Russia, or are you tired of American stupidity? You can come head over because we're going to be watching Obi-Wan trailer, and that's what we're doing. We're going to be happy. We're going to be happy. We're going to do something that we enjoy, and which is Jedis and Siths. This is the best combination.
Are you tired of the war in Ukraine, the war between Russia and the Ukraine? Well, head on over to part 2 where you could see us watch the war between the Sith and the Jedi in a galaxy far, far away. The common theme, throughout all this. Yeah, man. So I'm excited about that. It's funny because we had said like what's the order we're gonna do this in. I was like, let's do like the real heavy thing first, so we could have fun in part 2.
Yeah.
Watch Obi-Wan.
All right.
So, all right, everybody, head over and watch that. We'll see you next time.
All right, later.